Hey again. So, um, so when you have connections and you're in certain positions and stuff, you have leeway. Um, Wells Fargo, Silicon Valley, Boston, Massachusetts, Brockton, Massachusetts, Taunton, Massachusetts, Fall River, Massachusetts, the United States government, Brookline, Brighton, Massachusetts, everybody who's had a part to do with this. My schools that I went to, the schools that my children went to, the doctor's office, Manic Community, both Taunton and Quincy. And let's talk about that real quick. So, unfortunately, I ended up having a miscarriage earlier this year. I was sad about it, but then when Karmic baby daddy Kins called his friend Jerry in New Jersey and was like, "How should I feel about that?" I was like, that like something just did something to my spirit with that or whatever. So now, since I have, um, you know, exposed on my other channel the things that I have, everybody's trying to clean up shop and stuff like that. And it was crazy because that happened back in May of this year, May 2025. We're in October. If it wasn't August, it was September that the same doctor who, when I went into the office, and they gave me like medicine and all this, like it was a little weird. Like, I have children. So this all was a little weird, but I'm just like, every pregnancy is different. I'm just kind of going with the flow. But the last appointment, when I went for a checkup and she comes in the room, this Haitian woman, what was her name? Stacy, Stephanie. I don't know. I'm gonna check in the portal because this was weird. So she comes in the room just all like, yeah, so I'm just gonna tell you that you had a miscarriage. Didn't give me any paperwork, no nothing. It got sent in the mail to the house back in May. May, because I graduated in June from college. Well, I got my GED. That was another thing that he was trying to, deter me from doing. And it's funny because I haven't spoke to Chantel in years, probably about 4 years, 3 to 4 years. I've completely cut off all communication with her, social media, everything. He's gonna tell me, "Oh, Chantel graduated from nursing school," and I'm sitting in my head saying, like, "How the fuck would he know that?" So he already started showing his hand. I'm like, how would he even know that? So it is what it is. So back to the nurse. So she comes into the room, second unit. Shamika and Victor Morales are doing the most right now because I'm on the camera, and they don't want this to get out. But they're gonna be exposed too because he's dealing drugs out the basement and stuff like that. So it is what it is. And then you guys are sitting there, all you guys are trying to sit there and call CPS on me and try to make it seem like I'm an unfit mother. No, I'm an amazing mother, and I'm going to put my children before I put peen in front of them, money in front of them, or anything. I'm going to always choose my children over anything else. See, that's the difference between me and y'all. Y'all will sacrifice and have sacrificed your children, your bloodlines, your own selves for a dollar. I'd rather go through what I'm going through now, give it all to God, let these bills stack up at y'all's expense, though. Because, see, that's the thing. You guys want me to struggle and lose everything so that I'm coming back to Carol or Kins and being like, can you guys please help me? Can you guys please help me? And it has nothing to do with ethnicity, but John Horace Small Sr., my grandpa, granddad, he sat there and said he would never ask any of y'all for anything. He'd rather go to the white man. And my grandpa's old school, from the South, all that. I believe he's from the South. I know Ida's from the South. She used to be a slave. She was on the plantation. So, not for nothing, and it's not an excuse, but I get where her mindset was or is. She was a whole slave. She's darker than me. So, you already know you didn't pass the brown paper bag test. You know, she may have been raped and stuff. I hope I can say that word on here. And I apologize. But hurt people shouldn't hurt people. I'm hurt and I'm not out here hurting people. I want to heal people. Why keep hurting you if you've already been hurt? Especially in some of the heinous ways that you guys have hurt people. And even not the heinous ways, just taking, like Carol took Kara Williams, took her and her child's birth certificate and all that and ran up credit and all that. And it's crazy because back in the day, Carol used to go around asking family members, "Hey, can I claim your kid?" Not so much on taxes, but can I claim your kid on my lease? So, like, say if she was, a two family household, so they only giving her like a 2 bedroom, she wants that third bedroom, so she needed to add another body. Even like now, she has this girl Tiffy. um the grandson on her lease. Whether he lives there or not, I don't know, but not for nothing, you done messed up, because once she gets social security and birth certificates and all that, hmm, 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 watch out. Carol and Ashley and Sade are evil, and so is David. And it's funny because when I had asked David Small from Silicon Valley Bank, I sat there and I said, "Hey, cousin," like him and Shakira were my favorite cousins. You know, my dad really vibed with David, and I really just vibed with Kira. But now I see that all they were fake, they were false, they were phony, they worked for the devil. I asked him about my father's situation. Hey, did Carol do this? And he was like, I cannot confirm nor deny, but I can tell you that Carol and Sade have demons in them. That's a confirmation already right there. I can't confirm or deny, but I can tell you that Carol and Sade's his sister, has demons in them. That's a confirmation within a confirmation within a confirmation. If you know, you know. Especially with this gang stalking. So it's like, come on now. And I really feel like, my dad has three children's mother. It goes Karen, Jackie, Karen. My dad was in love with my mother. I think he loved all of them, but he was in love with my mother. Um, but I think because Lavar's mother, the first one, she was light skinned. She got the pass. She's the light skin, and I think all of them are beautiful. All in their own. Well, not the first Karen, because I go on the soul, and she's ugly. She's ugly. Pretty on the outside, pretty vessel, but ugly soul. Um, she's light skinned. Jackie's darker than me, and then my mom's lighter than me, but not lighter than the first Karen or whatever. And that Karen is the one who's still in the family. She thinks that, she has the complexion for protection, and back in the day they were really ignorant, like slavery days, that if you didn't pass the brown paper bag test, you were out in the fields, and if you did pass, you were in the house or whatever. um and I'm not saying that Karen was a part of that, but just the mentality as far as like Ida goes, she was on the plantation and stuff like that. So, I just find it interesting that, instead of helping people overcome their obstacles and sharing your story, your testimony, all of us can write a book. All you guys, my viewers, you guys can write a book about your life, and I'll learn something. The next person will learn something. We all have our own life lessons, our own life purposes and stuff like that. But we all could write a book literally on our lives and sell it. It will help the next person. So I just don't get, I mean, the physical aspect I don't get. I'm learning the spiritual. Everything is spiritual before it's physical. But to manifest in the physical the way how it had, it's one thing when I didn't have kids. Okay, blacklist me. Even when I was younger, Carol would sit there, and there was a girl, Lenise, who lived in on Hazelton Street, 97 Hazelton, the schoolhouse. Who she was a heavy set girl, but she was pretty. She was pretty, and it doesn't matter. Your body type is your body type. Like, poor thing ended up going to get surgery years ago because that's how much they affected her self-esteem. And that's sad. That's so sad. And even Ashley, I have a beauty mark. Ashley told me years ago she went and got a beauty mark because of me. That's sad. I mean, thanks, but don't alter yourself, your physical body, to want to be accepted by society, because you're still not going to be accepted. You're still not. Like, you will, but you won't. Because those who know. Those who have to be all loud and boisterous and all that, you're really not happy within the inside. Now, when you're cool, calm, collected and stuff, that's real self-worth, self-composure. And I'm not saying that you have to be like this all the time, because I'm not like this all the time. When I get off of here, I'm gonna probably put some music on and start twerking my booty, twerking for Jesus. And that's not my quote. That was from the Bad Girls Club years ago, But I'm showing my age. Well, I already told you guys my age. I'm 32. But you know, all this underhanded stuff and trying to end my life and end my children's life because my grandfather signed a will. I have an inheritance, a house from him. That doesn't make sense. So, going on to, these organizations being corrupt and stuff like that. So, I was living with Shonda Williams, which is my karmic cousin. We went to the Cape. There cannot be two queens in a castle or whatever. She felt some type of way that Karmic Kins and I were there as a unit, and she didn't have any of her kids' baby daddies. And I'm not saying it like that, but she has, what is it, 5 kids, 4 baby daddies or whatever. So, but at that time, she only had 4 kids, 3 baby daddies, because 2 kids have one baby dad. I mean, one dad. Sorry, who he used to be my best friend, Benny Lee. Um, but he ended up turning karmic when he started messing with this girl, Crystal Shaw, or whatever. Again, I can mention name, people, places, and things because my house is illegally surveillance and wiretapped, unbeknownst to me, and I didn't give any consent, or whatever. The landlords, Ahmad and Akeem, are working with Carol and David, my karmic familiar unit. So we were there. I got a job. My food stamps went all into the house and everything. Like, I'm that type of person. Like, you can't live anywhere for free. You gotta, you know, pay your way and stuff like that. At first, I didn't have a job, but Ken's got a job instantly. I did my food stamps. I got a job right there at the gas station too. Was working and putting food stamps in and helping out with the kids. And I had a car, so she was able to use it. We were teaching her how to drive and everything. Now her man comes. She moves in her brother Gino. She moves in her man's brother. So now it's like 14 of us in a 3 bedroom. But Shonda did this to her sisters Kara and Mimi. And Mimi used to call the police on me there, saying that there was an unwanted guest. It got so deep that the police came, what was it, 4 times? And sat and said, if she calls another time, we're going and we're arresting her. So Shonda ends up writing me a letter, sliding it through the door type thing, and gave me 48 hours, so 2 days that I had to move or whatever. She asked Kins for a ride to go drop the rent check off. When she came back, she gave me this note, went upstairs, and that was that. I did speak to her a few times after that, but I completely cut her off because if all of you guys can do this to me and mine's, peace. My children don't deserve this. They don't. And I'd be damned if I know what y'all have done to me and others in the family, and then I put my children in that line of fire. What type of mother, what type of parent would I be to know the sinister stuff that you got? One of my cousins got molested in her early years. She ended up moving in with Carol. Carol brought her molester. Carol Small brought her molester to the house on Washington Street and got mad that she would not speak to her molester. This is somebody who's in foster care, who was taken from her family. Her father wasn't in her life, so on and so forth. Now she comes back into connection with her family, her mother, her aunt, her uncles, and everything. Like, now she's back home base so she can have these relationships. And that's what you do to her? So what Carol does is she likes to use people's traumas, like the deep-seated traumas, and use them to her advantage. Carol's stepdaughter, Taisha, even has called the foster people, DCF, and letting them know Carol's abusing her power. And at the time, she wasn't supposed to have men living with her. She had a man, Dana Hines, in the household. They were married. They didn't even investigate because why? Carol has connections. And that's where it ties in as far as the shelter. So I had 48 hours to move out of Shonda's house. I ended up moving into a hotel. Chantel ended up finding out where I lived because I was, naive, and ended up becoming back friends with her and stuff like that. Things got rocky at the hotel. So then I ended up going into a shelter, High Point Organization, multi-billion-dollar company or whatever. They have all different, like sister branches and stuff like that. They homelessness, addictions, men and women shelters, health things, and all that. At first, I didn't realize it because my mom would be like, "Oh, don't put Carol in everything. Don't put Carol in everything." But no, when you know people are sinister and they got connections the way they do, you have to know that the government is watching you and stuff. And I wasn't even on a spiritual kick then. Now I'm in my height. But back then, I wasn't even, you know? And so the shelter wouldn't, they helped me, but they wouldn't, and there was an angel there who, she helped me, but all the resources that I should have gotten from her, I didn't. And I got 15 on the timer. I'll be back.